Alrighty, fellas, let's talk about that 25 motor. There's no official release from Ram, right? There's all these speculations from engineers and this and that. My honest opinion, what they're gonna do is they're gonna release the engine way under its capability, right? Let's say they release it at 440 horsepower and 1,100 pound of torque, right? Let's just speculation, because right now when I'm making this video, there's no official release from Ram, not a single thing. And you got to keep in mind, Cummins builds these engines, but Ram still is the one tuning them and doing all the background, right? And obviously Cummins needs to agree to their numbers as far as, hey, how hard you pushing our vehicles. But yeah, so you got torque management, you got all that safety feature stuff. So what I think is going to happen is that about 430, 440 on the horse, about 1,100 feet-pound. Because at 1,075 torque in 2024, that 6.7 is fully capable of handling that power. The cooling system is plenty. The Ison transmission handles it just fine. If you didn't know, I used to deal with a lot of fifth gens, sold off quite a bit of them, but I deal with a lot of pickups. And when we utilize our fifth gens handle the weight a lot better when it comes to heat dissipation and overall, it just handles the weight a lot better. So at 1,075, it does just fine. So with all these leaks, them going dual overhead cam, them going iron blocks, let's say they bump it up to 1,100. So the previous motor that did 1,075 did it just fine. There's no logical explanation why they would beef up XYZ, give it a head that flows better and all this jazz, and not bump the numbers just a little bit, right? It's a marketing thing. But am I keeping my fingers crossed? No. I'm just telling you, as a business-minded individual, an individual that's, involved in several businesses, there has to be a far better reason than just redesigning the whole engine. And you're sitting there screaming, and well, Paul, those engines blew up in your face at 1,000 or at 100,000, right? Yes. Let's talk about why. What I've concluded, and before you guys jump out of your seat and be like, I told you it's an oil. It is an oiling issue, but why is it an oil issue? So what I've concluded, the suppliers to the lifters, and I've said this part, what I'm about to say, I've mentioned it before, the first part, but the second one, you got to listen carefully. What's really taking out these lifters? So you got two things working against these lifters. First one's the suppliers are faulty. Not faulty. The suppliers that are supplying these lifters, they're faulty from the get-go because the metals that they've used to build these units are subpar. Okay, they're cheap metals. They were struggling for metals, so we got that knocked out. We don't have to argue. These things are going. They're failing left, right, and center. So we got that. On top of that, this is the part that a lot of people don't know. On top of that, the GCI block that the 24 is probably going to be the last year having it, the 25 is going to have an iron block, kept releasing particles into the oil and blocking the oil passages. Where did I get this information? From a gentleman that does warranty claims for Ram. Now, that all makes sense now, because I couldn't figure out why would they go back to an iron block. Power Stroke has the graphite blocks, right? Ram has graphite blocks. You could feel it, you could hear it. It looks good, and I was all for it because it was stronger material, it was lighter material. But it sounds like that material is kind of getting washed away, and that's a no-no. So that's why Ram's going back to an iron block. You're going to scream, say it's stronger, it's better. You build your house on the sand, you're not going to last long. So that's the best way I could describe it. What is graphite? If you don't know, go Google it, and you'll be like, well, that's kind of dumb. Yeah, once you start looking from that side, it's pretty dumb. I do not know how Ford does their casting. I don't know if this is part of their failure rate as well. So if your 5th gen fails, it's gonna fail early on. Okay, you guys seen it in my videos. I got 5th gens with high 300s, 400,000 on, a few of them well into the 400,000. So if it's bad, it's gonna fail early. It's not gonna fail way down the line. Okay, we got that knocked out. So the reason for the iron block, I've established it for myself. Run with it, scream with it, jump with it, whatever you want to do for yourself. That's mine. As far as the lifters, as far as I've heard, there was 5 suppliers at the time of the production of 22s. Right now, they're only down to 2 suppliers. The reason they're down to 2 suppliers because when they started going after testing all these, 3 of them had so 3 out of the 5 suppliers, specifically 3 of them had far greater failure rate than the other 2. So they discontinued using those. They've only used 2, hence all the delays and stuff. So anyways, the lifters kind of got squared away. If I was in a pinch, would I buy a 24? Yes, guys, I would buy a 24 right now. If I was in a pinch, 24 or 6.7 Cummins with an ice. Would I buy a 22 or 23? No, not gonna happen. Oh, anyway, so that's the engine. As far as specs go, I told you my specs 430, 440 to be conservative for them not to pay such a hefty price. Okay, the EPA got Cummins and the warranty claims, I'm pretty sure, are killing them. Because Ram isn't going to eat all those engines. They're going to put it back on their supplier, Cummins. So Cummins, lucky them, they're a huge company, and they got all this data and experience with on-road engines. I'm pretty sure they're gonna come back at Ram and scream at them, we told you, because the true commercial 6.7 Cummins that come through with the box trucks, medium duties, they don't have hydraulic lifters. No, they don't. Listen to that engine. We had box trucks come through, right? Those Freightliner FL70s, that's what I default to. I don't know if they're still called that. Half mini semis, right? They have flat tappets, and you could hear it clear as daylight. So I'm thinking that's how Cummins is going to fire back at Ram, because as far as my understanding goes, Ram's the only one that's putting the hydraulic lifters in these 6.7 Cummins. Don't ask all the details, but I can tell you for sure, servicing the new box trucks, they have flat tappets. Anyways, so by changing the block in the hydraulic lifters, we got that squared away. By keeping the numbers down, they kind of reassure themselves, and then 2 years from now, or even a year, I don't see a year, probably a couple years from now, they're going to bump them up. Everyone's screaming in 2 years Cummins is going to release a new engine. Well, they might. Is it going to be in a Ram? I just don't see it happening. To build a completely different engine, and it's still a 6.7, but keep in mind the dual overhead cam that I got all these evidence, right, coming left and right and all over the internet. Dual overhead cam on this new 6.7 that everyone's saying. For them to change the head, change the block, and all these, I mean, the fuel system's different, right? Just for have a 2-year run, I don't see it happening. Quite frankly, I don't think Cummins themselves even intended to have the GCI block such a short run, because they released that engine in 2019 and wrapped it up in 2024 based off hearsay. That's 5 years. I mean, it's an okay run, but it's not a profitable one. I'm guessing they had intended to run it for a longer time, but props to Cummins and Ram for making it right. Right when the CP4 started grenading in 19s and 20s, they said, nope, in 21 we got CP3s. God bless them for that. Thank you. So from one side, Chrysler's getting banged up, or Stellantis are getting banged up with all their poor choices. Right now, we got a guy that likes horsepower. Tim's back in office, so we got a guy that understands performance and understands the hot rod culture, but he understands as a performance businessman as well. He understands how it's important to have these trucks safe. Everyone's chasing numbers, but I really hope Tim sees it through, and I really hope they'll do what I think they'll do. They'll give us a little bit less horsepower and torque just to go much further with that equipment, meaning the tranny, the rear ends, the engine themselves. They'll hang on better with a little bit less power. I'm gonna do a video. Who needs 1,200 pounds? Like, this thing has 1,200 pounds of torque. When do I feel it and when do I need it? And the ultimate question, does average Joe need one? I'm gonna tell you right now, heckers to the no. And quite frankly, average Joe can't even tell the difference from standard to HO. But that's a video for another time. So I gotta wrap up my video. I'm gonna go get me a haircut. I should probably go back here. This isn't only. I better wrap up this video, guys. That engine, how to sum it up, I like it. I haven't ran it. I haven't heard it with a dual overhead cam. I like it. There's more things to go wrong, absolutely. But if that engine's built right, it's gonna be a more responding engine. Like, it'll be more responsive, kind of like this one. Generally, Cummins, they're kind of like slow to respond when you compare them even to this thing. This thing's a snappy. It's a whippersnapper compared to the Cummins. You got a much better, stouter engine. Oh, time to roll, fellas. And then you got a transmission to translate that power and torque and proper timing instead of delayed timing with the 6-speed. Overall, I'm happy with what I see. I'm not going to bash on anything because those engineers are far smarter than I ever will be, right? But once I do get the product and I start testing it, I will call out the shortcomings. So stay tuned. I don't know when I'm going to get my 25 mega cab. If you're new to the channel, I have a 25 on order. It's been ordered about a week ago. And yeah, we're gonna test that thing and put it through its paces, from hauling family, how smooth it rides, how comfortable, how thermo efficient it is, meaning how well it keeps heat and cool in the summer. Fuel efficiency, right? To heavy loaded down with equipment, 40-foot goosenecks. We'll have them all covered for you. As always, may the Lord bless you, and may you all have a mighty fine day. God bless you. Bye.